So this is how we finished last lesson on completing the square. We had an example, this one you should have with you in your books. First thing we did, however the number in front of the x was, we halved it, well after we made it equal to 0. So we tried x minus 3 all squared. Multiply it out any way you like, and then we came up with something. I said, so I have this. But it wasn't what I wanted. I wanted this from the question. And I said, what fix do we have to do? To get from the plus 9 that we had to get to the minus 8 that we needed, I needed to take 17 off. So I wrote down what I had tried earlier with a minus 17 on there. That was my fix. Okay? That was sort of where we got to. We then said to solve it, we then could move the minus 17 the other side. We could square root both sides, making sure we put a plus and minus sign in over here, move the 3, and we get our two answers over there. So that's where we got to the end of last lesson. So what I want to do now is to carry on with this completing the square with another example. Okay, call it example number 2. And whilst you should have been completing the square at GCSE, at higher level, you didn't do ones like this. What has this example got in it which wasn't at GCSE, Catherine? A number before the x squared, yeah, okay. So that is what is new here, is it is not just 1x squared. So that is what is new about this example. Well, if we don't like that number, we simply just sort of get rid of it to start with. And one way we can get rid of it is taking that number out as a factor. Okay? So that number there just gets written down here as a factor. Doesn't matter that 3 does or doesn't go into these other numbers. I'm just going to take that number out as a factor. So what do I need to times 3 by to get 3x squared? X squared. What do I need to times 3 by to get minus 8?
Minus 8 over 3.
Yeah, it's that minus 8 over 3. Because if you multiply that out now, that 3 I'm pointing to there, then that 3 will cancel out, and you'll be left with the 8. Now I do need to write that x down as well. And what do I need to times that 3 by to get that negative 3? Negative 1. Okay? So I can rewrite the whole thing like that. And now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to temporarily forget about that 3, and I'm just going to work on this bit. I do need at the end to remember that root 3. I'm going to temporarily forget on it though, and I'm just going to work on this bit here for now. Okay? So I'm just going to pretend effectively like that's a question on its own, that I have to do the completing the square on this. So, from that little recap we had at the beginning of this section, what do I do to start with? I'm going to have something in a bracket squared that I'm going to try. What takes this position here in the brackets? Yeah.
Minus 4 over 3.
Okay. It's basically it's half of that. What we're looking for now is half of that. What is half of 8 thirds? 4 thirds. And it's a negative. So that is what goes in there. And now I've got to multiply that out. Now whichever way you do it, either writing it down like that and using FOIL, as some of you were, absolutely fine. Or if you want to do it the grid method, absolutely fine. I'm going to do it the grid method over here. X times by x, x squared. X times by minus 4 thirds, minus 4 thirds x. X times by minus 4 thirds, minus 4 thirds x. Over here, minus times minus is a positive. Top, 4 4s are 16. Bottom, 3 3s are 9. Putting all that together then, I have, from here, x squared. Now, when I lump these two bits here together, minus 4/3 x minus another 4/3 x, what will I get? Minus 4/3 x minus another 4/3 x. Minus 8/3 x. Yeah, I will get this. That's why I've done it. I will always get this thing here. Minus 4/3 minus another 4/3 is minus 8/3 x. And I've also got this positive 16/9 here. So that's what I have from what I tried. However, what I want is the bit I had up here, which is x squared minus 8/3 x minus 1. So I haven't got what I want. To get from what I have to what I want, I've got to do a fix. What have I got to do to get from positive 16/9 to minus 1? If you think of it, to get to 0, I've got to take 16/9 off. That will take me to 0. And then I've got to go down to minus 1. I've got to take another whole one off. Now, if I'm talking in ninths, that means I've got to take 9/9 off. So altogether, I'm going to have minus 25. Yeah, you've gone the wrong way, okay? Minus 25/9 is my fix. That's the answer to that sum. Minus 16 minus 9 is minus 27. Sorry, minus 25. You've got me doing it now. Minus 25/9. So that means that my answer to this bit of the question I'm working on at the moment is what I tried with this fix stuck on the end. But remember, I temporarily forgot about something, and I do need to bring it back in. I temporarily forgot, if I zoom out a minute, that 3 up there, and I said we mustn't forget about it forever. This here is equal to what's underlined here. So all of that needs multiplying by that 3. To get my final answer, I need to reintroduce that. And what I have just written down needs to be multiplied by that 3. So that does need to be multiplied by that 3. It doesn't have to be square brackets, it's just that different to the other ones makes it stand out a bit. Okay. Now, some books would leave it like that. Sometimes you might see the answer and they might multiply this out. So they might say, okay, well that's 3 lots of that, take away 3 lots of that. What's 3 lots of 25/9? Well, yeah, you can do it various different ways. You can either times the top and leave it like that, or you can say, well, hang on, 3's going to both of those numbers. 3 goes into 75 25 times, 3 goes into 9 3 times. So, either of these 3 lines here are perfectly acceptable answers. They're all the same. Okay? They're all the same thing. Here,
yeah, no, like, is that the final answer?
yeah, either any of those 3 are fine. It depends on what you want to do with it, maybe what the context of the question is, if it asks you to write it in any particular way, anything like that.
So you could leave it in the square bracket?
Yes, you could do, unless it asks you to, do anything else with it. If you were then going on to solve that equation, if we were then asked to solve this equation, okay, assuming it equals 0, you would just sort of go about that, doing it the same way that we did before. First thing you would do is move that to the other side where it would become a plus. And the bell's going to catch up with us very quickly. We're trying to find out what x is. What would be a good next step? Yeah, that's right, okay. Shift that 3 there, it's a dividing 3 onto the other side. So I'm going to call that 25 over 9, because I've divided that 25 over 3 by 3. So to get from there to there, I've divided by 3. I'm trying to work out what x is. What would be the next step? Square root. And what must I remember to do on the right-hand side? And yeah, put the plus and minus in, okay, yeah. So 25 over 9, square rooted, but put the plus and minus in to get your two answers. Then finally, that minus 4/3, stick that at the other side. I would tend to write it at the beginning. So we get that. What's the square root though? 25 over 9. 5 over 3, yeah, square root at the top, square root at the bottom. So I've got 4/3 plus or minus 5 over 3. So that means I get 4/3 plus 5 over 3, or my other answer is 4/3 minus 5 over 3. So over here I'm getting 9 over 3, which is just 3. And over here I'm getting minus 1/3. So if I had been asked to solve those equations, final answers are 3 and minus 1/3. That's where we're going to stop today. We are going to do some more of these next time.